When God sets his hand upon a person for a purpose that is far beyond the ordinary, he often begins by clearing the path ahead of them. He quietly, sometimes painfully, removes the voices, the faces, the hands that once felt like home. People drift away. Messages go unanswered. Invitations stop coming. The room that used to be full of laughter suddenly echoes with silence. And in that sudden emptiness, the heart cries out, "Why am I alone? Why has everyone left? Have I become unbearable? Have I done something wrong?" But the truth is far kinder and far more majestic than the H makes it feel. You have not been abandoned. You have been singled out. You have not been forgotten. You have been hidden on purpose. Isolation in the life of someone marked by heaven is never punishment. It is protection. It is preparation. It is the sacred furnace where ordinary clay is turned into a vessel fit for divine use. God does not allow his chosen instruments to be shaped in a crowd. Crowds are loud. Crowds are distracted. Crowds dilute focus and scatter vision. So he draws you aside, sometimes into a desert of silence so complete that the only voice you can hear is his. In that stillness, he begins the deep work, stripping away every false support, every counterfeit comfort, every relationship that feeds the ego instead of the spirit. He removes anything that competes with his voice, anything that keeps you from hearing the quiet whisper that says, "This is the way, walk in it." You feel the loss like a death, and in a way it is. Old versions of you die in that solitude. The version that needed constant approval dies. The version that measured worth by likes, by phone calls, by invitations dies. The version that feared being misunderstood dies. And something stronger, purer, truer begins to rise from the ashes. People will misunderstand this process. They will call you proud when you stop chasing their attention. They will call you cold when you no longer laugh at jokes that grieve your spirit. They will say you have changed, and they will be right, but they will not see that the change was not rebellion, it was resurrection. Your spirit has been lifted to a frequency most cannot reach yet. You begin to hunger for substance, while others are content with noise. You begin to see motives while others see only surfaces. You begin to feel atmospheres while others feel nothing at all. And because light always disturbs darkness, people step back. Not always because they hate you, but because the purity burning in you exposes the compromise living in them. Do not be surprised when the phone stays silent. Do not be shocked when old friends fade like photographs left in the sun. God is jealous for your undivided heart. He will not share the throne of your affection with anything temporary. He wants all of you because he intends to make you carrier of something eternal. And eternity cannot be carried by a divided soul. There is a holy loneliness that only the set apart know. It is not the loneliness of the rejected, it is the loneliness of the refined. It is the loneliness of eagles who fly too high for sparrows to follow. It is the loneliness of diamonds being formed under pressure no one else can bear. It is the loneliness of a seed buried in dark soil, broken open so that life can push through. In that buried place, roots go deep. Faith learns to drink from hidden spring no human hand can offer. Prayer becomes conversation instead of performance. Worship becomes lifestyle instead of event. You learn to hear God in the wind, in the silence between heartbeats, in the middle of the night when tears are your only companion. You discover that His presence is thicker than any crowd ever was. You realize that being unknown by men does not mean you are unknown by heaven. Every person who walked away created space for God to walk closer. Every closed door became a gateway to deeper revelation. Every unanswered text became a lesson in trusting divine timing. Every season of being overlooked taught you that the one who sees in secret rewards in secret. And His reward is Himself. You begin to change on the inside in ways that cannot be faked. Your laughter becomes rarer but truer. Your words become fewer but heavier. Your prayers become longer and fiercer. Your discernment becomes razor sharp. You can walk into a room and feel what is pretending to be peace. You can hear the hollow ring beneath flattering words. You can sense when a connection would drain the anointing instead of feeding it. And because you now guard what God is building, you withdraw not out of arrogance, but out of obedience. The world will never understand this kind of separation. They will say you are too serious, too intense, too different. Let them talk. Their words cannot touch what God is forging in secret. Their opinions cannot undo what heaven has ordained. You are not becoming difficult, you are becoming dangerous. To darkness, to mediocrity, to every counterfeit thing that tries to imitate the real. There will be nights when the ache is almost unbearable. Nights when you scroll through old photos and wonder why no one fought to stay. Nights when you sit in an empty house and the silence presses in like a weight. On those nights, lift your eyes. The one who removed the crowd is standing in the room with you. He has never left. He collected every tear. He heard every whispered question. He felt every stab of rejection. And He used it all as chisel and fire to carve you into something the world has never seen. You are learning the secret that most never learn. Real strength is grown in silence. Real authority is birthed in obscurity. Real intimacy with God is cultivated when no human voice competes. The prophets knew this loneliness. The apostles knew it. Jesus Himself knew it. 40 days alone in the wilderness before He stepped into the fullness of His mission. The pattern has not changed. Those who will carry heaven's weight must first be emptied of earth's noise. One day the season will shift, not because you begged or compromised or lowered your standard, but because the preparation is complete. God will bring the right people, not many, but the right ones. Souls who have walked through their own fires. Hearts that speak the same language of the Spirit. Connections that do not compete with your calling, but complete it. They will not need you to dim your light so they can feel comfortable. They will celebrate the blaze. But until that day, embrace the sacred alone. Celebrate the quiet nights. Thank God for every person who left, because their leaving made room for Him to become everything. Thank Him for every misunderstanding, because it pushed you deeper into the only heart that fully understands. Thank Him for every closed door, because it forced you to find the door that no man can shut. You are not lacking friends, you are gaining God. You are not losing connection, you are discovering communion. You are not being broken, you are being built. The emptiness you feel is not absence, it is expansion. God is making room inside you for rivers of living water that shallow souls could never contain. Walk the narrow road without apology. Speak when he says speak, and be silent when he says be silent. Love fiercely, but guard sacred things. Pray without ceasing, because your prayers are shaking things that human eyes cannot see. Stand in the gap for a generation that mocks what it does not understand. Carry the fire quietly. Let it burn everything flammable inside you until only gold remains. The day is coming when the hidden years will make sense. When the solitude that felt like punishment will be revealed as protection. When the people who walked away will look up and see the glory they once rejected. When the world that ignored you will be forced to acknowledge that the one who was with you in the wilderness is the same one who now leads you into promise. Until then, keep walking, keep trusting, keep listening in the silence, keep loving the God who loved you enough to empty your hands so he could fill them with himself. You are not alone. You never were. The one who calls you chosen has never taken his eyes off you for a single second. Every step you take in this divine loneliness is a step deeper into his heart. And there is no greater place to be. So let the crowd have their noise. Let the shallow keep their shallow things. You were never made for the surface. You were made for the depths. And in the depths, he is waiting, always speaking, always holding you closer than any human ever could. This is the privilege of the chosen, to know God so intimately that human company becomes optional, to be so filled with his presence that earthly absence loses its sting, to walk through life with an unseen companion whose friendship never fades, whose love never wavers, whose voice becomes clearer with every step you take alone. Rejoice, beloved. Your loneliness is not a curse. It is your crown. Wear it well. The king is nearer than you think.